Hello, hello. All right. Oh, maybe a little farther. I don't know. All right. Welcome everyone to a solo episode. Yes, I do not have Gonzo here with me. Because don't need him for this episode. So, as you remember in our last Blue Lock episode, we went over the first five episodes of the anime. Um, and we played a little game to remind you of who the characters are. But really, in Blue Lock, the first season of the anime is more informational. It kind of gives you the baseline you need to know about the main characters, and then you can get into deeper discussion about them. But really, until you guys know all that, it's hard for us to make an entertaining episode. So this will be essentially me going through the entire rest of the anime, which is 19 more episodes. So let's not waste time. I'm going to start right now. Where we left off was the end of episode 5, where the team just came off a win against Nico's team, Team Y, 2-1 with an Isagi winner. And now they're playing against Team W, who actually beat Barou's team. And as if you don't remember, Isagi's team, Team Z, lost 5-1 to Barou's team, I believe. So it's going to be a tough one. So yeah, they got strong opponents they're playing against, whose main strikers are the Winima brothers. One of them's mute, and they also recognize Chigiri in the game. They're playing around. So the game does kick off. These two brothers, they're passing the ball around. They get up the field. They get close to Chigiri and say, "Oh, look, it's the genius made of glass. What's he doing here?" Anyways, let's fast forward a little bit in this game. And Kwon scored a hat trick. Yep, just the tactician of Team Z, out of nowhere, scores a hat trick. Three headers, I believe, from a corner, free kick, maybe a cross or another corner. It's 3-0. And that's halftime. I know it was fast, but trust me, even in the anime, it's like a minute and he scores three goals. So yeah, they're into halftime, they're gassed. They say, okay, we have to keep this lead. Let's just keep doing our thing, keep attacking, and score more goals, right? They're egoists, they want to keep scoring. Second half starts, and Kuon is dispossessed, which leads to the brothers scoring a goal, and it's 3-1. So three goals for Kuon, but a mistake to let the other team back in the game. And then it's Kuon's on the ball again after the restart. He gives a back pass to Isagi, but it's a little short. And it doesn't actually get to Isagi. The brothers intercept it once again and score again to make it 3-2. And Isagi looks over at Kuon like, "What are you doing?" And he thinks he saw Kuon smile, but he's not sure. Anyways, Team W now starts to counter every single weapon that Team Z has, and they're doing it a bit too well. Um, so then Team W are on the attack. They get a cross into the box, but Kuon's there, right? And his ability is his jumping and his heading. So everyone's like, okay, Kuon, get it out. And Kuon actually misses the header. The ball goes over his head, and Team W scored their third goal to tie the game. Now everyone's pissed at Kuon. And Isagi actually calls him out for betrayal. He goes up to Kwon and he says, "Are you betraying us?" And the brothers come up from behind Isagi and say, "Bingo," and just admit to it just for Kwon. And basically, the logic behind Kwon's betrayal is that um, if Kwon gets a hat trick this game, even if Team Z are eliminated, he will be top scorer in the end and go through by himself. So that's his plan. And so he basically gave Team W all the strategies, all the tactics they need to beat Team Z. And in exchange, he got to score three of his own goals. Now Kwon joins the other team and it's a 12v10. Episode 7, the game continues. And Team Z, outnumbered, outmatched, go down 3-4 instantly. And they basically had no chance because Team W know all their weapons and tactics. And Chigiri's on defense once again after the goal against the brothers, and they keep making fun of him. They say, "Don't run, or you'll get hurt again," or stuff like this, and just make him feel bad about barely moving. And he is pretty stationary and slow. And the brothers are just running in rings around him. They're passing around him. They're running around him. So then we get a flashback to Chigiri's high school, where he joined the team which the brothers were on, and overtook them as the star of the team. He was scoring hat tricks left and right, and he was getting on the local paper. But then he got a devastating injury. He tore his ACL, and thus his soccer career was stunted. So now we know why he's scared of running so much or playing properly is because he's scared of being injured. Um, yeah, so we go back to the game, and Team Z are still struggling, obviously, but Isagi is trying so hard. He's running like for himself and for Chigiri on defense. He's doing both of their work by himself. And the ball is rolling towards Chigiri, but Isagi just pissed and riled up. He pushes Chigiri out of the way and says, "Move." So Chigiri gets pissed at him back, but he realizes that he used to be just like Isagi, just try really hard all the time, always believe you can win. So he gets fired up too and says, "You know what? I don't care if I get re-injured or not. I'm gonna just have fun and outrun people. I'm gonna play my soccer and just try to win." So he just out of nowhere starts absolutely flying down the left wing. He's easily the fastest player on the field, maybe even the fastest in the building. And Isagi, smelling a goal, sends the ball to the other side where he was stuck on the right side, and he just sends it over to the left where Chigiri's running. He sees that he's unlocked, and Chigiri rips past like 4 or 5 players, okay? And now the ball is between him and the goalie, and they're both chasing it down. Obviously, who's faster? Chigiri. He keeps sprinting, gets a touch over the keeper, chips him, and makes it 4-4 in the dying seconds. So Team Z managed to get 1 point out of the game where they were leading 3-0. But considering the circumstances, it's not too bad. It gives them a chance of survival, although it means they have to win their last game against the best team in the league. So, Chigiri thanks Isagi for making him want to keep playing soccer. They have a little wholesome moment there, and the team celebrates. Then later in the night, Kuon is at it again. Team Z find Kuon talking to members of Team V, their final opponents, in the cafeteria, and trying to offer them the same deal as before, which is, give me goals and I'll give you our tactics and stuff. So here we're introduced to the stars of Team V, which are Reo, Nagi, and Zantetsu, who refuse the deal. They say, no, that's boring. We'll just win on our own and have fun. We'll just destroy you by ourselves, right? Makes sense. So me and Gonzo's prediction about Chigiri having a good ability was true. And speed is always OP. And since he's that fast, maybe they'll have a chance as underdogs next game. We'll see. Episode 8. We see some more of the Nagi, Reo, and Zantetsu dynamic. We see that Nagi is extremely lazy, and that to him, everything he has to do is a hassle. We see that Reo spoils Nagi. He says Nagi is his treasure. And we also see that Zantetsu is really dumb and tries to use some eccentric words, some words to make him sound smart, and just ends up sounding dumber. So that's the dynamic of those three. So important things to know before the Team Z versus Team V game. Team Z have to win to move through the selection. No one wants Kuon to play, so he'll just be standing still at half or like in a corner somewhere. He won't be playing or helping, which means they're outnumbered by one. And Kuon is currently the highest ranked player on Team Z because the ranking is based on goals, meaning unless someone gets a total of 4 goals, he will advance no matter what. Okay, so we get into the game. The game starts, and Team Z are very well prepared against Team V's stars. And they start with a counter-attacking lineup with Gagamaru, Chigiri, Kunigami, and Bachira attacking. They also focus Reo on defense because Reo is the playmaker who starts all of Team V's attacks. Kind of like how Nico was playing for Team Y. Anyways, Team Z win the ball back, and they get a chance to counter. So Bachira sends a long ball to Gagamaru, who hits a diving header, but it hits the crossbar. So close. Devastating for Team Z. They could have started off scoring the first goal in this tough game. Instead, Reo, who gets the rebound, gets excited, says to Nagi, let's try that, and instantly sends a super long ball, like all the way down the field to Nagi, who goes up in the air, does like a karate kick like this, absolutely just completely kills the ball and then shoots it off his touch and scores. And then he turned, making the score 1-0, obviously, to Team V. He then turns around and he's confused why Team Z couldn't just do the same thing. Like, why do they miss? So we realize here that Nagi's some lazy genius who finds soccer very easy. Get into episode 9. Team V win the ball back quickly after kickoff, and Rayo sends a long ball again. This time, instead of killing it dead, Nagi sets up a bicycle kick and then shoots the bicycle into the net. Now it's 2-0 for Team B, and it looks like it might actually just be over for our boys on Team Z. Yeah, not looking good. Okay, so at this point, Team Z they're on the verge of giving up. Okay, the opposition is way too overpowered. It's the best team in their group, and now they can tell why. So they just lose the ball again. Chigiri gets beat by Zantetsu for speed, which catches everyone by surprise. They thought Chigiri was the fastest in the building by a mile. And then, since Nagi's being triple teamed now, after all of his two insane goals, Rayo decides to send the ball to Zantetsu instead, who sends a banging shot in the top left, and now it's 3-0. So they were on the verge of giving up, and now they just gave up. It's done. There's actually just no chance they survive now. But there's one guy on Team Z who's just not having all this, and he is excited. Like super, I'm telling you, like super excited. It's like as if something insane has been happening to him, insanely positive. And it's Bachira, of course. And Bachira says, "This is insane. This is such a good soccer game. He's like really happy to be a part of it." And he says that all they have to do to score against this team is just be super special, like they were being. So he passes to Isagi, gets it back, and then just goes on a crazy skill run. He does not care about anyone else. He just goes in alone and he hits Rayo with a fake to one side, then roulettes the other side. He flicks the ball up when he's faced by Zantetsu, and then he hits it right a little bit. But then Elastic goes back left, so he's past him. And then gets past three more players with ease, and then chips the goalie with a Rabona. Like, out of nowhere, he makes it 3-1, which they still don't really have a chance. But he just showed, look, if you're super special like me, you can score against them too. So he gives them some hope. Okay, Team Z are now hopeful thanks to Bachira's insane goal. They realize that surpassing their limits is the way to get something out of the match, like Bachira says. Um, Now, like they start giving it their all. Igaguri blocks a shot with his face. Okay, he blocks a Nagi shot with his face, and now it's time for them to counter. The ball falls to Bachira, and he brings it up the field, but is now facing Rayo. This time he thinks he won't get past him, so he passes to Kunigami, who goes for a shot from outside his usual range, because Isagi is telling him just go for it, you might as well. We have to surpass ourselves. And the ball knuckles right under the goalie's arms, who tries to punch it away. And it's 2-3. Team V are still in the lead, but only by one now. And the first half is done. So at half, they're hyped. They're saying, okay, we can actually do this. We just have to keep attacking and keep giving it our all, right? So second half begins. Team V have upped their level and are actually pressing really quickly now. Um, Batra gives Gagamaru a pass, but it's a little behind him. It's like a long pass again, but it's behind him, so he can't header it. But instead, Gagamaru goes for a scorpion kick, cleared off the line by Zantetsu. Gagamaru is getting so close to scoring an insane goal this game, second time now, but it's just not happening for him. Then the ball is falling to Isagi off Zantetsu's clearance. He takes a touch, ready to shoot, but then he gets blocked off, and the opposition take the ball away from him. So he's left wondering, what did I do wrong? What could I have done instead? Nagi makes fun of Isagi and says, why don't you just give up? It's clear you're not good. And Isagi's like really fired up. Like he turns around, it's like it's kind of similar to that Kira face from last episode where he turns around, he's like really pissed, and he says, shut up, genius, I'm about to get to the good part. Watch out for that line in a later episode. So, Chigiri is now one on one with Zantetsu, And realizing Zantetsu is only faster than him in short range because he has more acceleration, he knocks the ball like a decent amount past him, not just like right past him, and then gets there first, takes a touch pass, and bangs one in to make it 3-3. Episode 10, the game continues on. Kuon is cheesed. Team Z actually have a chance to go through, and now all his efforts have been embarrassing, and he's not even playing. So people are catching up to his goals, and he yells at Team V, and then just obviously gets cooked because no one there respects him. Anyways, Rayo is being marked tightly by Raichi right off kickoff because Isagi asked him to, and then Nagi tells Rayo that he wants to try to play make, which is out of character because he's a lazy genius who thinks everything's a hassle. So playmaking should be a hassle. But then he gets the ball, he absolutely cooks Igaguri, and then he plays a 1-2 with Zantetsu. Zantetsu sends a ball like on towards the byline, but like it's such a tight angle. You'd think he wouldn't be able to shoot, but no. He takes a crazy touch and then turns all the way around in the air and scissor kicks it into the net to make it 4-3 for Team V. So Team Z are crushed again out of nowhere after getting all that momentum. Anyways, there's 15 minutes left, so they decide to go all out attack and try to score 2 goals in 15 minutes. Let's see if they can. So now Chigiri's one-on-one with Zantetsu again, and he knocks it a decent amount past him again, but this time Nagi reads that and he's about to cut it out. But Isagi also read it, and he gets to it first, then gives it back to Chigiri. Like they play a 1-2. And Chigiri goes for a shot, but the goalie saves. Then Gagamaru goes, sorry, he hits the post. Then Gagamaru goes to the rebound, but Reo blocks the rebound. And then the ball falls to Kunigami, who finally smashes it in to make it 4-4. So now there's a few minutes left, and they're tied. And Isagi realizes, like, he envisioned this entire goal. He knew Chigiri was going to knock it past Zantetsu like that, then he would intercept, and they would get back into the box and score. The game kicks off again, and Zantetsu sends a crazy long ball to Nagi, who with his first touch cooks Isagi. He takes a touch with his back, the ball goes over Isagi, Nagi gets past him, and then he's through on goal, and he passes the rest of the defense as well. But out of like he's about to score, like he's literally one-on-one with the Yamal, who's like, if I don't save this, our soccer careers are done. I have to do something. And out of nowhere, Kuon rugby tackles Nagi onto the ground and gets a red. Kwon apparently wants Team Z to win the game because we get a flashback to his past, where at his high school he had no teammates that took soccer seriously, no one that really wanted to train or wanted to play the type of soccer that he wanted to play. So he actually felt some passion instinctively and helped Team Z. So Rayo's on the free kick, and his options are either to pass or shoot. But Yemon, he's like, this is blue lock. There's no way he doesn't shoot. And he's right. And he saves Rayo's free kick, which is going to Zontetsu for the rebound. But Raichi comes in with a crazy clutch block. But the ball is falling to Nagi again. And instead of going for a smash and getting blocked, Nagi chips it over like 3 defenders, chips it over Yemon too. But then Gogamaru, coming out of nowhere, with his super reflexes, gets the ball, flicks it onto the crossbar, and after the ball hits the crossbar, it falls to Isagi. So now it's time for Team Z's counter. Like 2 minutes left. Next episode, episode 11, we continue the game. Isagi plays a 1-2 with Bachira, then plays it out wide to Chigiri, gets it back again, and he uses Chigiri's run as bait to cut inside. So now he has all that space. He passed to Kunigami, who gets dispossessed, and the ball's rolling out of play. But Raichi's run up all the way from defense, and he's sprinting after the ball, and he's saying, I told you to score, you idiots. And he keeps it in the game, gives it to Bachira, who's about to cross it in. So Kunigami and Chigiri run into the box to try and get there to get the finishing touch. But Bachira sees Isagi, who stayed behind, to go into the far post where there's all that space and no defenders. So he hits the cross towards him, and Isagi, right as he's about to take a touch and shoot it in, he hears Nagi behind him, who says, "We meet here again." And Isagi remembers the time that he took a touch and couldn't score, and he's like, "What do I do? How am I supposed to score?" So then he remembers his last goal against Team Y, where he just volleyed Bachira's cross first time. So then he goes for it again and smashes it in top right to win the game for Team Z in the dying seconds. Like, obviously, there's going to be pictures over there of the goals and the panels, but this is literally the Mbappe against Argentina goal. The finish is like, it's a sliding volley. It's crazy. So then Team Z celebrate like crazy. They're through the first selection. They beat the best team in the dire moments of the final game, and they actually clutched. So the top scores of the losing teams, who are from Team V or Z, are Barou, Nico, and the mute Wanima brother. Anyways, now it's time for the second selection, guys. So how it works is players will have to pass 5 stages, and those who succeed in those stages will take part in the training camp, which was designed by Ego. And here we're also introduced to Rin, Sei Itoshi's brother, who we talked about in the last episode. And he's the first one to actually enter the second selection after like a crazy show off of his skills to everyone in the waiting room. But episode 12, we get into the first stage. Isagi enters the room and he's given a pass, like from within one of the walls. A ball pops out and he just takes a shot at a net that has a hologram goalie called Bullock Man, and the hologram saves his shot. And he's like, "What? A hologram just touched the ball. How is that possible?" Yeah, I don't know, but it is. So he sees on the screen that he has 90 minutes to score 100 goals on Bullock Man. So balls keep popping on the walls and he keeps shooting them. And the more he scores, the more Bullock Man improves and the more challenges are being put around him. There's blockers, there's moving defenders, stuff like that. So he just has to adjust to the changes being made and continue improving his shots. But he gets through it fairly quickly and feels that his shots got much better. So he gets his 100 goals and he's through to stage two. Stage two is a knockout round. Players start as a team of three, so they play in a 3v3, and the winning team picks a player off the losing team, so they become a team of four, and that team of two, there's a team of two left on the other side. So that team of four will then play a 4v4, and then once again, the winning team will pick a player, become a team of five. That team of five gets to play a 5v5 against five players from the world 11. So the best 11 players in the world, they play against five of them. Yeah, I know, crazy. Ego splurging. I don't know where he got this cash. I know the Japan Football Union gave it to him, but or maybe they have investors. I don't know. It's crazy. Anyways, so the winning team goes in that path, but the losing team from the 3v3 obviously go down to two players, so they have to play a 2v2, pick up a player from the losing side, and become a 3 again and build back up. And if you lose in the 2v2 and you're not picked, you're out of blue lock. It's GG. It's done for you. Anyway, so Isagi enters the next room after clearing stage one, and Bachira enters right after. So they're hyped to find each other, and they decide to team up for the 3v3. But they don't know how to pick as their third, so they decide whoever comes through first between Kunigami and Chigiri, we'll just pick them first. And you can see in the back, Nagi and Rei are also there, and they have the same conversation. They cleared this first stage as well, and they don't know who to pick as their third. And Reo says, "Okay, so who do you want?" And Nagi says he was waiting for Isagi to pick as their third. So then he approaches Isagi and tells him, "Join us, join me and Nagi." And Isagi apologizes, but he won't leave Bachira. So Nagi says, "Okay, I'll be your third teammate." So he just decides to ditch Reo and play with Isagi and Bachira. So Reo's in shock. He's like, "What? You've never even played football without me. Why did you just leave me out of nowhere?" And Nagi says he wants to explore the type of player he can be, find out if he's still good without Reo, and that he wants to try soccer with Isagi. Reo is pissed, but he says, "You know what, just do whatever you want. I don't care." Although, he cares. Okay, they enter the next room to play their first match of the stage, and they see that The first three players, that includes Rin, who have finished the first stage, are already there as a team of three. So rank one, two, and three are together. And Isagi's like, oh, we can't play them. But at the same time, he thinks if we don't play them, we won't get better. So our boys, Isagi, Bachira, and Nagi, challenge the top three as their first 3v3 matchup. Episode 13, we get into the 3v3, and Isagi's team is Team White, and the top three are Team Red. And each team has Bullock Man as their goalie. So Team White starts off kickoff. Bachira quickly gets past Tokimitsu, and then passes it off to Nagi, who lays it off first time with a little toe touch to Isagi. Then Isagi uses direct shot, and it's already 1-0. Like, out of nowhere, they just scored on the top three players, which is pretty insane. But they're up by one. And Rin Itoshi, who we said was Sei's brother, he says, yeah, that goal didn't really move me. Um, yeah, he wasn't affected by it at all, and just shoots from kickoff and scores, like like as if nothing happened. So he just reset whatever Team White did. It's 1-1 now, and he says, "You guys are a bunch of NPCs." After kickoff, Team White have the ball again, and Isagi's shielding it in and around their box to not lose the ball because they're being pressed high. And RU is the number two ranked player in the top three, and he's very tall, like probably 6'5" around there. And with his reach is so crazy, he just goes around Isagi's legs with his leg and just taps the ball into the net and makes it 2-1 for the top three. Then Team White kick off again, and Bachira is against Tokimitsu, who's ranked three again. And he gets past him just like before, but this time Tokimitsu recovers like instantly. He's back on the other side of Bachira. So Bachira goes past him again, and this keeps happening until Tokimitsu wins it back. And here we see Tokimitsu's personality because while he's trying to recover, he's like insanely anxious. He's like, "Oh no, 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 no. I let him pass. Oh no, no. I can't let him pass me. I have to go back. I have to get the ball." And it's like it's crazy how anxious he is. He's like it's like life or death. So he wins it back and he's moving down the field, and Isagi doesn't know how to stop him, so he decides to foul him, pull him by the shoulder. But Tokimitsu is way too strong. Like you'll see in the panel over there that like his shoulders and arms are way bigger than Isagi's. So he just barges through Isagi and makes it 3-1 for Team Red in the top three. So Isagi realizes the top three, they don't even know how to play as a team, and they're still winning 3-1 just with their individual strengths. And this makes Nagi interested in football. Knowing now that there are players way better than him, he proposes a new tactic, which is the first time he suggested a tactic to his team, like ever. And it's to stay in a close triangle with Bachira as the base and a distributor, where Nagi will lay the ball off to Isagi, who will use his direct shot. So like they did in the first goal, but they'll just make that their regular tactic now. Anyways, Isagi just can't shake Rin to get into the scoring position, so Nagi can't lay the ball off to him. So instead, Bachira sends a curveball to Nagi, who then realizes like if I stop, there's no point in stopping this ball because I'm gonna lose it. So first he just knocks it past RU first time and finishes it off to make it 3-2. So they pull one back. Team White are in discussion again, and Rin shoots from kickoff to score again, but Isagi read that and blocks it off the line. But unfortunately gives away a corner to Team Red. So then Bachira and Nagi are marking Tokimitsu and Ryu. And Isagi decides, okay, so I'll just stay front post and I'll be able to react to, if anyone beats their marker, I'll be able to react, right? No. Rin says, nah, if you're there, then I'm just going to shoot. And he curls it all the way far post and makes it 4-2 for the top three. So then Isagi realizes, like, whatever he does, Rin just adjusts to it. So it doesn't matter how he reacts to it. Team White are on attack once again after restart, and Rin is marking Isagi very tightly. So he makes a run in behind, but the pass gets cut off, and Rin tells Isagi, learn how to use your eyes. read a book about how the human eyes work. He then goes down the other end, gets past both Nagi and Bachira, and scores and ends the game 5-2. No team play from the top three, and they won by a 3 goal difference. Pretty nuts. Then the red team win, and it's time to pick a fourth teammate. But Rin just doesn't care who they take. So are you and Tokimitsu agree that they will pick Bachira since he is the playmaker and he'll be able to connect the top three and make them into a better team? Bachira tells Isagi to come win him back, but he won't be waiting for him. Episode 14, Isagi and Nagi go to the waiting room for the 2v2 matches, and they're the only ones there because no one else has played a match yet. And Isagi's feeling more and more hopeless because he says he couldn't do anything against the top three, unlike Nagi and Bachira, who scored a goal with their chemical reaction. And then Nagi reminds Isagi that he also scored a goal, but Isagi says that was just because of their team play. So Nagi gets pissed. He grabs him by the hair and just starts ripping him. He says he joined him because he thought they could have become stronger together, so he can't have him all acting all negative and feeling sorry for himself. So they realize that neither are good without their partner, Botcher or Rayo. So they know they have to level up in this next game. And they can't plan it in advance. It just has to happen during the game. At that moment, Barou walks into the 2v2 waiting room with Team Z's player Naruhaya. So they lost their previous game, and their opponents didn't select Barou because even though Barou scored 4 goals, he lost them the game by being too selfish. So after training and deliberating, the two teams decide to face off. And this selection is where we start to see more of Baru's personality because he says like he'll crush Nagi and Isagi and make them his servants and then they're peasants and all this. So we see that Baru really thinks like he's the king. And he says that for a reason. Anyways, so Team White start from kickoff, and Baru dispossesses Nagi like instantly, and then just bangs one in. Like he's outside his previous range. It's kind of like how Kunigami extended his range in their last game. Baru does the same. So Isagi sees that. Obviously, as he and Nagi evolve, so does Baru. So they have to kick off again. They're already down by one. And Isagi realizes if he can beat Naruaya, they could probably win this game, but he just can't get past. So he passes into space for Nagi, and Nagi realizes he's found a new formula to score. Like last game, he'll just breathe life into the ball, so he doesn't need passes to be in a certain way. However the passes, he can just direct it how he likes and score a goal. So he gets the pass, he gives it a slight touch to bait Baru into challenging, and then he flicks it over him with his heel and then shoots the equalizer. So now it's 1-1, and Nagi literally just evolved after one pass. So Team Red kick off now, and Team White starts a 2v1 Baru since they know he's not going to pass. They pinch him and take the ball and start their counter. Now Naruya is staying distant from Nagi because he saw his new 1v1 ability where he'll just knock it past you with his first touch. So Isagi sends it directly to Nagi instead of in the space. So he does what he would normally do, kills the ball, and just takes a shot. And now they're up by one. It's 2-1 for Team White. So much like Rin, Baru decides, you know what? I'm just gonna shoot from kickoff. And he does. But it doesn't go in. The Blue Lock Man saves it, although Naruhaya is the fastest to react to the rebound, passes it back to Baru, who this time doesn't make a mistake, and ties the game at 2-2. So, Isagi realizes since Nagi and Baru can go head to head and just compete throughout the game like this, the winner is going to be determined by whoever can win the battle between Isagi and Naruhaya. So Isagi is faced by Naruhaya at kickoff, who tells him the reason they wanted to face Isagi's team was because they thought they could beat Isagi, who is an average Joe, like Naruaya, and he can't fight alone like geniuses such as Nagi and Baru. So Isagi, he's annoyed, passes to Nagi, but because he got distracted, Naruaya intercepts the pass, and Baru ends up with the ball and starts to counter. So then Baru has the ball, and he surprisingly passes to Naruaya and says, send it back, shorty. And Naruaya doesn't pass it back since he's through on goal, as his weapon's getting behind, but his shot is just not good enough, and Blue Lockman saves. However, Baru's faster and stronger than Isagi and gets the rebound first and scores, and now puts Team Red up 3-2 in the game. So the next two episodes, we continue this match, and Isagi is trying to beat Naruhaya, but Naruhaya is keeping up, and Isagi just can't make a difference in the game. So he just passes to Nagi, and Nagi uses the same formula again and equalizes to make it 3-3. And again, Barou shoots from kickoff, but Nagi's there to block it, and Isagi's there to pick up the rebound, but Naruhaya comes in and steals the ball. He's then blocked off by Nagi, so thinking he has no chance, he lays it off to an incoming Barou, who gives Team Red the lead once again. Same thing again. Shooting from kickoff, getting the rebound, all this, all that. And then Barou makes it 4-3, scores his fourth goal. So Barou and Naruaya are now one goal away from winning, and most likely taking Nagi from Team White. Isagi keeps losing to Naruaya in their own 1v1 situation, so he's trying to figure out why he keeps losing and why he lost track. Then he realizes that he's not in multiple 1v1s, but a constant 1v1 throughout the game against Naruhaya, so he decides to change his mindset on how he thinks. He recalls a moment in the last game where Rin told him to read a book about how to use his eyes, and realizes he hasn't been accounting for his blind spot. So whenever Naruhaya comes in and surprisingly takes the ball, it's because Isagi didn't account for his blind spot. So in the meantime, he passes to Nagi after kickoff, and Nagi once again equalizes. Crazy Nagi carry right here. And crazy Baru carry as well. But back to Isagi's thoughts. Every time a player surprises him, it's because they approached him from a place he can't see. Okay? So now that he's accounting for his blind spot, Isagi thinks he's ready for this continuous 1v1 that he realizes he's in. So he thinks what he needs to evolve is this new mindset of constantly thinking he's in a 1v1 and trying to beat whoever he's up against. So Nagi comes up to him, and just to remind him that the next goal wins, Isagi replies with, "Shut up, genius. I'm about to get to the good part. And I've told you to watch out for that line, because last time Isagi said that, he cooked a genius like Nagi. So let's see what happens here, right? Nagi, as I said, remembers how that game turned out and says, okay, I'll take that as we're gonna win. So, um, it's time for kickoff again, and Nagi's waiting on the line this time to prevent the Barou kickoff, but Barou doesn't care. He shoots again, but to the side Nagi's not on, and he just misses. Like he hits the post, and all three of the other players run to the rebound, and Naruhaya gets there first. Again, you gotta give it to this guy. He's a bit dead, but he's fast. So then he decides he doesn't have time to do anything other than pass or shoot, and this is Bullock. And if he doesn't pass, he'll never stop being an average Joe. Sorry, if he does pass, he'll never stop being an average Joe. So he goes for a shot, tries to copy Isagi's direct shot weapon, and he hits the post too. Unfortunately for him. So Isagi sees that Naruhaya just tried to copy his direct shot and realizes that if he can copy Naruhaya's footwork and getting him behind ability, then he might be able to exploit people's blind spots and get into shooting positions to use his direct shot. So, as Nagi's carrying the ball, Isagi goes into Baru's blind spot. He then shifts behind Barou, who realizes what Isagi did. Then, as soon as Barou reacts to him, Isagi goes back the other way and is completely free of Barou. Then Nagi sends him the through ball, and your boy, the main character, Isagi, takes the shot and ends the game 5-4 and wins it for Team White. After the game, Isagi consoles Naruhaya by saying it was close, but Naruhaya disagrees, saying that it took Isagi mere moments to understand his weapon, Naruhaya's weapon, and master it himself, calling Isagi a genius of adaptability. Unsurprisingly, though, Team White picked Barou as their new member, and they say it's not time for the king to bow out. So Norohaya waves goodbye to Bullock. At the end of the episode, we see Kunigami and Chigiri in the waiting room for the 3v3 matches, and they're both pissed that Bachira and Isagi left them behind. So then, they see Reo, who's chilling by himself, and surprisingly not with Nagi. And they ask him to join their team. So now all three of them have motives to beat Isagi and Nagi's team, and I guess we know what the next matchup is. The two teams meet in the baths of the 3v3, waiting the 3v3 teams, and they decide to officially match up. It's kind of a weird place to arrange that, and I'm not gonna lie, while they're doing this, they're all naked. I don't think they see anything, but they're all naked. A bit interesting. Anyway, so both teams are discussing tactics and practicing and about who to pick after the match, but neither side can decide, so they'll just see how the game goes and decide. It's now time for kickoff, and once again, Isagi's team is white and the opposition is red. Barou gets the ball from kickoff, and he's being marked by Kunigami. But Kunigami's tactic defensively is to let Barou roam freely until he gets close to his center area where he likes to shoot curlers from, at which point Kunigami pushes him back outside. And since Barou refuses to pass, he loses the ball, and Team Red start the counter. Isagi blocks off Rayo, but Rayo sends the ball past both of them to Chigiri, who's running through on the left wing, and Nagi manages to catch out when Chigiri takes a touch. But then he knocks the ball past Nagi again and hits a banging shot in to open the game up with a goal. So it's 1-0 for Team Red. Isagi now is ready to use his new spatial awareness weapon by fusing his ability to exploit people's blind spots and his off-ball movement. So, from kickoff, he passed the ball to Barou, and then when Rayo shifts to that side, runs in behind, and he's completely through on goal, like no one around him, but Barou doesn't pass him the ball. So then Team Red steal it from Barou, and they start their counter again. Isagi once again covers Rayo, Nagi covers Chigiri, so that leaves Kunigami free, and he has a shot from his preferred range, and converts it easily, and makes it 2-0 for Team Red. So then Nagi calls Barou out for being selfish, but Barou he genuinely doesn't care. He says he doesn't want to win unless it's with his own goals. And Isagi realizes that he can't pass to Barou if they want to score because he can smell infinite goals from Nagi's side, but absolutely nothing from Barou's side of the field. So Isagi sends Nagi a ball, and Chigiri, comfortable with his speed advantage, doesn't expect Nagi to knock the ball the opposite way that Chigiri's running, gets caught off by his momentum, and then Nagi creates a free shot for himself to make it 2-1. So Isagi and Nagi just have a chemical reaction, just like Bachira did with Nagi in the first match. And Nagi tells Isagi, look, let's just 2v3 and ignore Barou. However, Isagi knows that if he can create a chemical reaction with Barou, there's no way Team White will lose the game. So Isagi tries to be rational and convince Barou by speaking to him and saying, team play will allow us to actually beat them. But Barou doesn't care. He wants to win how he pleases with his own goals. And Nagi tells Barou that unless he admits defeat, he will never know true frustration, because Nagi's speaking from his experience last game. Anyways, Ryo sends the ball to Kunigami and gets it back. And then he sends it to Chigiri, who then crosses the ball into the box. And as Isagi and Ryo battle for the header, Kunigami comes in, gets them both out of the way, power headers it into the net, and makes it 3-1. So now they only have to score 2 more goals to win, whereas our boys on Team White have to score 4. Tough. It's happened before though, so let's see. Isagi wants to give up on Barou and play with Nagi, but he thinks that will mean they'll lose, even if they keep scoring. So then he realizes that he needs to be exactly what Naruhaya said he was, a genius of adaptability. So instead of trying to change Barou or control him, Isagi himself needs to adapt to how Barou plays or how he acts. So then, having the final piece he needs, Isagi tells Nagi to keep his eyes on him, and that they'll win the game. The game kicks off. Team Red are focusing Nagi, obviously, has Barou won't pass and will lose the ball if he does get it. So then Isagi uses this to his advantage. He dribbles towards Barou, and then they're like, okay, I guess he's gonna pass to Barou. They shift, so Isagi sends it through to Nagi this time, but Chigiri goes to block him off and keeps a decent distance. And Rayo also comes to help out. So now, Nagi cannot pass either of them, but with Barou charging into the box and Rayo helping Chigiri, that means Isagi is completely free. So he runs in everyone's blind spot, goes into the back post, gets the pass from Nagi, and scores to pull one back and makes it 3-2. So Isagi says that you can't change people, but you can change yourself. So Barou realizes Isagi just used him to score, and Isagi says, keep playing the way you are and don't get in my way. Donkey. Which, in the manga, is not donkey. It is the R word. So, yeah. Maybe too far. Who knows? Anyways, Baru's like really pissed, and he's getting fired up. Team Red kick off, and they see that Isagi has evolved, so then now they're a little wary. Ryo sends the ball to Chigiri, who sends it to Kunigami, but Baru, needing to prove himself, actually plays defense and wins it back off Kunigami. So then, since no one will pass to him, he's like, yeah, I mean, I just have to win it myself then. Then Ryo and Kunigami pinch Baru, tip the ball away, but it only goes as far as Isagi, who's now heading on a counter with Nagi. And as Chigiri charges into Isagi, he sends Nagi through, who scores to tie it all up at 3-3. Then Team Red kick off once again, and Reo sends the ball towards Chigiri, as he's done every single kickoff. And Chigiri remembers when he took a touch last time, Nagi caught up to him, and although he had the chance to knock it on, he won't have it again. So this time he decides, you know what, I'll just knock it on with my first touch, and Nagi never catches up, Chigiri's through, and he makes it 4-3 for Team Red. Tough spot. They're one goal off a win, and Team White need two in a row. So, now in episode 18, we get a flashback to Baru's time in school when he didn't really understand why people would just follow him and let him be king on a soccer field. You know, when he was younger, he just had control of the whole field, and he realizes, I need to do that again. So from kickoff, he shoots like he was doing all of last game, but he hits the post. Fortunate for Team Red. And as Isagi and Rei are fighting for the ball, it gets loose again and heads towards Baru. But Chigiri is closing him down. So Baru knows if he takes a touch, Chigiri will win the ball back. So now he doesn't know what to do. And right then, right when he thinks he's going to lose the ball, Isagi makes a perfect run through right in front of him. And Baru instinctively passes it right through to Isagi's path. And Isagi uses a direct shot to make it 4-4. So now its next goal wins, and Baru just got devoured by Isagi. So Baru's in absolute shambles. He feels like he was just forced to make a pass and didn't even mean to do it. And Isagi really defeated him in that moment. But Baru accepted defeat, like Nagi said. So after scoring, Isagi comes up to Baru and says to keep moving out of his way. He says, keep moving out of my way so I can score, man. I'll win us this game. Isagi and Nagi know that stopping Chigiri is going to be the key because Chigiri has been the only one to be able to successfully use his weapon to beat them, really, other than that Kunigami header. But they've been mostly able to stop everything else. And now that Bar is defending, Kunigami's attacks are basically out of the equation. So they don't tell Baru the plan because Isagi says talking to a dethroned king is pointless. So the game kicks off, and Rayo's on the ball. And Nagi's covering Chigiri, and Isagi's covering all of Ryo's pass angles towards Chigiri. So Ryo has to pass to Kunigami, but he just gets the ball sent back to him. So then Ryo knows he needs to outplay Isagi, so he runs to the right where Chigiri is, and then Chigiri shifts to the middle of the field. And as he's going for a run through, Ryo tries to send the ball, but Nagi, instead of tracking his runner, runs towards Ryo and towards where he's going to pass and gets a crazy sliding interception. And much like the first time we saw him take a touch, he kills the ball completely with a sliding interception. And now it's time for the counter. Team Red are like in absolute disbelief because if Nagi had missed the pass, Chigiri was completely free to score the goal. But it was a high risk, high reward situation and it paid off for Team White. So Nagi sends the ball to Baru, and him and Isagi make runs in behind to get into scoring positions to win the game. And Baru feels strangely okay with giving them the goal. He understands how his old teammates at school used to feel, just passing to him and letting him own the field. But just before making the pass, Baru imagines a future where, instead of accepting defeat and trying to bounce back, he just acts as a follower. like he was about to be if he passed. And he, and he thinks, that'll be a future where instead of playing for Japan, he watches Isagi and Nagi play for the Japan national team and flourish. So he says he doesn't want a garbage future like that. So forget that pass. I am not sending this pass. And he does a Ronaldo chop past Kunigami. And then there's another one past Rayo. Then Kunigami tells Chigiri to get on Barou, but because they think Barou won't pass anymore. And they're not wrong. But then Barou, just like how Isagi used them, uses Isagi. This time he gets behind Isagi, uses him as a screen, and gets past Chigiri too. So now Isagi realizes the way for him and Barou to create a chemical reaction is to devour one another. Then Barou sets up his shot, and right before he takes it and wins the game for his team, he says he's fine with Isagi being the lead of the field as long as he gets to be the villain who devours the light Isagi brings. So then he takes a banging shot and wins the game 5-4 for Team White. And his teammates welcome the returned king. So Isagi goes up to high five Barou, but Barou is not having it. He lifts him up by the collar and says, "Take back what you called me," which was donkey, if you don't remember. Isagi says he's sorry, and while they're talking, Nagi jumps up on both of them and takes them down while celebrating their win. Anyways, Isagi didn't know Barou could dribble like that, and Barou says he didn't either, and it just came to him. So Ego, observing the game with his assistant Henri, says that defeat's important to accept as a top player, and it's what you take from defeat that matters. Episode 19. We're almost at the end. Don't worry, we're close. So, Barou wants to pick Kunigami for his hold-up play, and Nagi wants Reo for balance. But Isagi says that as chemical reactions are the key to success in this trial, they gotta pick the strongest player from the other team, who was in fact Chigiri. So now they have a different weapon on their team that they can create a chemical reaction with, which is pace. The new team of four make their way to the next stage, and we see the dynamic between the four of them as roommates, which is pretty funny. Baru's the clean freak, trying to keep the room all organized. Nagi's the lazy one, and Chigiri is messy. Baru doesn't like that. And Isagi is the glue, trying to just keep it all together, keep it chill, keep people from fighting. So then Baru and Isagi go to eat, while Baru expects the other two to clean up the crazy mess they made. They're eating in silence, and then Baru asks Isagi what he sees when he's on the soccer field and what kind of soccer he wants to play. So Isagi explains his strengths, which are spatial awareness and his direct shot, and he also uses off-the-ball movement to get more scoring chances. He then also apologizes for the things he said during the game, and Baru says that other than calling him donkey, he was right about everything, but now he's stronger thanks to that defeat. So Isagi says he likes the new Baru, and Baru says he wants to know Isagi better so he can crush him. Isagi says he'll tell him everything and he'll still win. So then we see this little friendly-ish rivalry brewing up here. I wouldn't say friendly, respectful rivalry. Then we see Bachira training with Rin, who's not impressed at all by Bachira and says he has a half-baked ego, which is looking for someone to play his type of football. So then we see a flashback to Bachira's childhood where he's playing soccer with the monster within him, which is his ideal partner on the field. And since coming to Blue Lock, he's found that monster in the form of Isagi and Rin. Anyways, as they leave training, Isagi is waiting for them and says he's going to win back Bachira. So now the boys are running it back against the top three plus Bachira. Episode 20. Before the game, we see Ryu amazed by Chigiri's hair. Yeah, we see Ryu amazed by Chigiri's hair, but Chigiri's kind of weirded out by him, and he says, get off me, please. But the two match up against each other. Then Tokimitsu matches up against Barou, as they have similar strong builds, but is anxious, as like Barou is this confident king, and Tokimitsu is this absolute anxious monster. Then Nagi asks Isagi if he can play against Rin, so this leaves the partners Isagi and Bachira as the final matchup. Anyways, the game kicks off. Bachira's up against Isagi, but he just can't get past him as easily as before. He can already see the improvement. Isagi's blocking off Bachira's right, so Bachira decides to go left, but Barou comes in and tries to take the ball away from him, but he isn't able to. So Bachira sends it back to Tokimitsu, but Isagi, using Baru's press, read that and intercepts the pass. So the light and darkness duo just devoured each other while defending to win the ball back for their team. Team White are on the counter, and Isagi sends it to Nagi, who's being defended like perfectly by Rin. He keeps perfect distance so he can react to a first touch over him, or he can react to if Nagi's touch if he kills the ball completely. So instead of taking a touch, Nagi passes it first time to Chigiri, who gets the ball first in between Aryu and Bachira, knocks it through, and finds the back of the net to make it 1-0 for Team White. And this wasn't like last time where they got a free goal at the start of the game. This was like a bunch of chemical reactions. So, looks like it's going to be a good game. So, the game kicks off once again. And Isagi and Barou use the same strategy of devouring each other on defense, but this time Bachira is better prepared and makes a no-look pass to Aryu, who's running in behind. And although Chigiri's on him, Aryu's reach is just too great. So he gets the pass to Tokimitsu, who is surprisingly strong for Barou. So he holds Barou off and sends it to Rin with his first touch. But Nagi's ready for that, and he goes in for a slide tackle. Unfortunately gets cooked. Rin fake shots past a sliding Nagi. Then he fake shots past an oncoming Chigiri. But since Isagi saw that coming, he's ready. Although he's left in a 2v1. So he decides, I just have to press Rin now and win the ball. But Rin flicks it over a sliding Isagi. But he does note Isagi finally learned how to use his eyes. But then crushes them, scoring the equalizer and makes it 1-1. What do you expect from the number one overall player? He's the best there, and he's cooking. So Isagi feels a bit different though in this game than the last one. Because last time he played against Rin, he didn't even understand how Rin was completely destroying them. But this time, he knew exactly what Rin was going to do, just wasn't able to win the ball off him. So maybe he's better prepared. Anyways, Team White kick off after the 1-1, and Jiri has the ball. Ryu is on him, but Rin is behind Ryu, and just in case Jiri gets past him, Rin can intercept the ball. That leaves Isagi and Nagi to be defended by Bachira, so they're in a 2-on-1. And when everyone focuses the more dangerous Nagi, who is the genius, Isagi runs in behind, gets in their blind spots, and gets a perfect through ball from Chigiri. But Rin, who was playing cover for Ryu, reads that, is already across the field, and cuts it out. Then Rin sends it to Bachira, who's impressed that Isagi can actually compete with now. He then hits a pass towards Ryu, which is, it's a cross. And Chigiri and Nagi won't be able to intercept if Ryu hits it while the ball's still high enough. So he gets it first and just headers it in for the lead. And now it's 2-1 for Team Red. So Team White realized the top three are also tougher than before because now they have Bachira to turn them into a real team and they can create chemical reactions with each other. And Nagi realizes that Isagi and Rin's awareness are on the same level, but Rin's physical specs are higher. So that's why he's beating Isagi so far and he's faster to the ball. Anyways, the game kicks off again, down 2-1. Nagi runs in behind Rin and gets the ball from Chigiri, but Rin reacts and comes back to block him off. Then Nagi dummies, jumps over the ball, hoping Isagi read the situation, which he did. Then Isagi passes it back to Nagi around Rin, but Rin reacts pretty fast and gets back in front. So then Nagi fakes a volley, right? He goes for a fake volley with his right, flicks the ball with his left back to his left side. So, I mean, the panel's right there. It's crazy. I don't know like how he thought of this, but he flicks it back to himself and he equalizes. And Nagi says he's speaking to Rayo, even though Rayo's not there. He says sorry, but I just can't look back to how I was before. He's already getting way stronger because he stopped playing with Rayo, started taking some initiative. Then Bachira asks Rin, "Is this still half baked footy to you?" And Rin says to shut up, and that he also gets fired up when he's pissed. So now if Rin's fired up, cooked. It might be GG. Anyways, the game restarts, and Rin sends a pass with backspin to Tokimitsu so that Barou, who was gonna intercept, can't because the ball rolls back to Tokimitsu. Rin then makes a run in behind, gets the ball back, and sends it to Ryu straight away, who brings it down from the end of his chest, gives it back to Rin. So Rin just played two insanely clean 1-2s, got it back, and he then is up against Nagi once again, who's not going to slide right away. But this time, Rin just roulettes past him instead of doing a fake shot. And by the time Isagi can get to Rin, although he has read the situation, by the time he can react fast enough, Rin's already sent the ball to Bachira, who's just free to take a shot, scores, and gets the lead back for Team Red. 3-2 now. So Rin, with his IQ and ability, just controlled every single one of his teammates, and Nagi, and Isagi. So everyone's Rin's puppet on the field, is what Isagi feels. So Team White now, just what they have to do to beat Rin is outplay his logic and IQ. But how? Anyways, they kick off, and they see that Rin and Bachira have switched positions. So Isagi passed to Chigiri, who gets past Ryu, but then he's faced by the covering Rin. So he sends the ball to Nagi, who passes it to Isagi running in behind Bachira, and as Isagi thinks he's through and free to shoot, Rin is there again to block him off. I don't know how this makes sense, but I swear to God he's teleporting. Anyways, then Isagi has to just protect the ball. And as Rin's about to win it back, Barou, who's been hiding in the shadows, see how I haven't mentioned him in a while, he's been hiding in the shadows, wins the ball off his own teammate Isagi and makes it 3-3, which makes which makes no sense obviously. Um, and that's exactly why Rin wasn't able to predict it. So then Isagi realizes the way to beat Rin is to score unpredictable goals and be someone Rin can't predict. So, red team, top three plus Bachira, restart the game, and Rin gives it to Bachira, who wants to give it back to Rin, but he sees that Isagi's covering that. So then Isagi asks Chigiri to pressure everyone but Rin, so that he can have time to counter whatever Rin does. He's basically using Chigiri to make up for the difference in physical specs. Then Isagi joins Chigiri in pressing Bachira, and as soon as Bachira gets past Isagi, Barou steals the ball. So once again, there's devouring going on defense. So Isagi used himself as bait so his team could win the ball back, and Barou gets past Tokimitsu, but Rin clears the ball out. And Isagi realizes that Rin currently is reacting. That's why he can win the ball back cleanly. He can only get it out. He's not able to predict what Team White are doing. So if Isagi can use Barou and gain control of the field, he can beat Rin. Bachira is absolutely like excited. He's stoked that his two monsters that he's found in Blue Lock are competing at such a high level, but he feels like he's getting left behind. Anyways, Isagi notes that everyone is getting really tired, so whoever can adjust to that first will dominate the field. Rin and Tokimitsu get up the field using one-touch passing, 1-2s, and interplay, which is possible thanks to Tokimitsu's unreal stamina. So no one on Team White can keep up and take the ball from them. What Chigiri and Barou decide to do is just attack Tokimitsu at once, and they foul him. So they stop him from getting by, but they both get yellows and they give away a free kick in a dangerous position. And Rin, who scored from a corner before, is probably going to cook something here. So he gets behind the ball, and Isagi's in the wall, but he doesn't know whether he should jump to block the shot or to stay grounded and react to a pass. And as he's still deliberating, Rin shoots the ball over his head. The ball dips and goes into the back of the net. And the score is 4-3 for the top three in Bachira on Team Red. Rin says Isagi's whole analysis was off as the only option was to shoot. Rin wanted to score his own goal. Bachira realizes that he also needs to be selfish in this way instead of looking for a monster to play with a friend in football. So 22. Team White restart. Isagi's dribbling the ball right behind Barou and just following him. So Barou runs past Tokimitsu thinking that's what Isagi wanted him to do. But then Isagi just keeps going by himself and runs through past them both. So he just used Barou to get past two players. While Barou and Nagi move to the middle to receive the ball, Isagi sends it over the top long to Chigiri. So now everyone shifts into the box to get the cross in from Chigiri out wide, and Isagi sees that. So he runs in diagonally to the post, to the front post, I think, and he waits to do so when he's in Rin's blind spot so that he gets there and is free to shoot. And he gets the pass from Chigiri and he's about to take his direct shot, but somehow Rin teleports again, bro. Rin is just he's faster than Sagi, so he's able to get there and recover. And Rin's about to block his shot, so he steps across, and in that moment Isagi's like, "Oh my God, how did I lose again? Like how can I not score?" He doesn't know what to do. He's in despair. Psych. I swear, I think that's what he says in the dub. I watched sub, but pretty sure he says, "Oh no," he says, "Got him." So Isagi, getting the pass from Chigiri, lets it run by him, turns onto it, and hits a direct back heel into the top bins. He absolutely cooks Rin to make it 4-4. Okay, so next goal wins. Isagi did what he wanted. He became an unreadable player that Rin couldn't predict. So, partially. His teammates are asking Isagi if he foresaw all that, and he confirms he did. He said he trusted Rin would be able to block off his best play, which was to get to the front post and take a direct shot. So when Rin stepped across him to block it, he lets the ball run past him and back heels it into the net. And he leaves everyone on the field impressed with this analysis. After the restart, Barou and Chigiri pressure Tokimitsu, whose pass back to Rin gets intercepted by Isagi. But Rin's able to still keep the ball and send it to Ryu. But this time Nagi intercepts. So Ryu takes it back with his reach. His reach is just too OP. And he sends the ball to Bachira. Now Bachira doesn't know what to do to catch up to Rin and Isagi. So he asks his inner monster for help. But by that time, Chigiri just takes the ball from him. So Bachira realizes that if they lose, obviously he won't be picked because Rin is on his team. The other team will just take Rin, and Bachira won't be able to play soccer with either of the two monsters he's found at Blue Lock. So Barou and Isagi start moving up the field with high speed 1-2s, one touch passing, and a desperate Bachira pressures Isagi, who sends the ball to Chigiri, who then sends it to Nagi, and Nagi drops the ball off to Isagi. That triple chemical reaction, that quadruple chemical reaction. And Isagi goes for his direct shot right into the top bins. But Rin, out of nowhere, hops and blocks the shot with a header. That is Rin's most desperate play of the day. He gave it his all to keep his team from losing. The loose ball drops to Bachira this time, who starts to move up the field. And he wants to listen to his inner voice and tells his monster to not come out. But he keeps seeing his monster appear. He wants to listen to himself and gets annoyed by his habit of looking for the monster to play with. His monster is telling him to pass to this person, pass to that person, and he doesn't want to do it. So he decides to forget about playing with others and goes in by himself. So, he's matched up against Isagi, as he has been all game. He nutmegs him, like super aggressive. Like, Isagi can't believe what just happened. And then Barou presses Bachira, then he nutmegs him too. Sorry, and then Chigiri comes to block him off, and then he nutmegs him too. Triple nutmeg. Crazy from Bachira. And then um, Nagi comes to block him off, and Chigiri and Barou press him from the sides, so he's surrounded by three players. Technically, all he can do is go backwards. But because there's three players on Bachira now, Ring gets free, but Isagi's ready, and he's on him, preventing that pass. Bachira, doesn't matter, regardless of who's open, decides he's going to keep playing by himself. He's going to feel the game instead of looking for his monster. So then he lifts the ball, he flicks it up, he controls it with his neck, he flicks it backwards, and then he taps it back over with his heel. Like this move, it doesn't even make sense. He's like freestyling in the middle of the pitch, in the box, with three people around him. He gets past all three of those players. He waves goodbye to his monster as he shoots the game-winning shot. What? Isagi read that Botcher would go at it alone, and he gets a block onto that shot. So the ball goes up in the air, and almost cruelly, unfairly, lands right at the feet of Rin Itoshi, who takes his touch and shoots the winner, giving Team Red the win. 5-4. Episode 23 of the anime. Only two epis left. Team White are in shock, and Isagi is in like a complete rage. He just outplayed Rin and Bachira completely in that last play, but he still lost. And as the top three deliberate who to pick, Rin intervenes and he says, "We're going with who I want." And he picks the only player on the field who outplayed him at any point in that game, and that was Isagi Yoichi. And he says that he'll give Isagi a front row seat to his rise to the top. Isagi tries to console his team and tells them they only lost due to pure luck, but they get pissed. Obviously, they just lost the game of their lives, and they tell him just go. We don't want to hear you right now. The new team of five are greeted by Ego when they get to the next room. Ego introduces them to the concept of luck in football, which just won Rin and his team the game. He says that those who do not put themselves in good positions cannot benefit from luck. And Rin was able to score the winner in that game because instead of stopping and staring at a ball that was floating in the air, he moved, he followed Isagi, who was the only one that read what Bachira would do and get past the surrounding defenders. So Rin, following Isagi, was in a good position so that if the ball dropped to him, he would be able to score. And he did score. And he says that the only difference, Ego says that the only difference between the winner and loser in that game was luck. And that's how intense the game was. And that the players now have to account for luck when playing football. Ego says it's nearly time for them to play their final game of the second selection against the five-a-side team of World 11 players. And the players they will face are Leonardo Luna, Pablo Cavazos, Adam Blake, Dada Silva, and Julian Loki, who is eerily similar to Mbappe. The next day, they get into the game, and although Botcher and Rin combine to score the first goal, they get destroyed in minutes by the World 11 players, and they lose 5-1. So each player scores a goal against them that shows how far ahead these professionals are than these high schoolers from Japan, which makes sense. Loki has insane speed, Silva has insane prowess in the air, even over Ryu. Luna has dribbling, Cavazos has technical ability, and Blake has strength. So whatever the Blue Lock players thought was their strength in this game, it got overdone by the World 11 players. So the game was simply for experience, however. Doesn't mean they're out of Blue Lock or anything, but it just showed them how much they must progress to be the best players in the world. So whilst waiting for all the other teams to finish the second selection, we see the boys working on their English. It's a couple funny moments where Rin, who is the best at English, gets pissed at everyone for asking him too many questions. But while all this is going on, they hear an announcement that the selection is finally over, and they see the other teams coming through the doors in the waiting room. A total of 35 players, including this team of five, will have made it through. So they want to see the other six teams that made it. So they see that Nagi, Barou, and Chigiri are now joined by Zantetsu and a new face, Kyorajin. And other teams with many characters that will be introduced to better in the next episode will they enter. We see some familiar faces in Raichi, Gakamaru, and Wanima on the same team. And in the final team, we see Igaguri and Reo. And the last player of that team is in the shadows. And everyone from Team Z is expecting Kunigami. And is it him? Who knows? They have to wait till the player steps into the light. And it is not Kunigami. Kunigami did not make the third selection. The player who steps through is Shidu Ryusei, who says he sent Kunigami down to the depths of hell, and he then tries to fly kick an angry Isagi. Yeah, interesting guy. Then Ego appears on their screen and tells them that the Japanese Football Union tried to shut down Blue Lock because they weren't seeing results and parents were complaining. So Ego, in wanting to show them results, challenged Japan's U20 team to a match versus Blue Lock's best team. So the next selection will be to determine the players who will have a part in that match, which will be the third selection of the series. And Ego says that if Blue Lock can beat Japan's U20 team, they take the positions for themselves. So they will go to the U20 World Cup. And but that's not all. Japan's U20 team isn't any weak team, and they'll be getting help by Sei Itoshi, Rin's older brother. So Rin, Isagi, and all the boys are fired up and can't wait to get going. And boys, that's the entire anime. I've been recording for a while. Oh my, hour and 20. Yeah, this is a long one, but if you don't want to watch an entire 24 episode anime, I feel like it's a better exchange of time, right? You know how everyone looks, you know what the goals kind of look like. If you want, my suggestion would be to go on Crunchyroll's YouTube and just watch through the Blue Lock playlist. It's clips where I'm getting the screenshots from, and you can watch the goals and stuff. Anyways, so next, now that you're all caught up in the anime, next episode, myself and Gonzo will quickly take you through the third selection. That won't be long at all, I promise. And then we'll get into some in-depth discussion about the players, who we think should make the starting 11 against who we think should make the starting 11 against U20 Japan, and we'll also speak about player comparisons, which real life players some characters remind us of, and of course we'll discuss the U20 match. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next one. Peace.